cancer that would put them in a flag-draped coffin. I know. One of those soldiers was my son, Major Beau Biden.
In case you missed it last night, that was Congresswoman Lauren Boebert heckling President Biden during his State of the Union address. Mr. Biden was talking about his son Beau at the time in relation to cancer among service members who died in Iraq. Boebert wasn't the only member of the Republican Party who hit rock bottom on decorum and then started to dig. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman of Georgia, shouted about women's sports at one point, and the two of them tried to start a build the wall chant as Mr. Biden talked about immigration. Much like a young boy who pulls the hair of a girl he likes in kindergarten, they did it so we would be talking about it now. So let's talk about it. American history is ripe with our elected representatives exhibiting behavior that is neither illegal or unethical, but to quote a famous newspaper editor, akin to drinking water from a toilet bowl. Dumb, distasteful, and when observed, embarrassing. Sadly, last night is no different than Nancy Pelosi tearing up then-President Trump's State of the Union with a contemptuous smile. Although we would expect more from the Speaker of the House than a member. Would you be surprised if the same people criticizing last night's behavior by Republican Congresswomen defended the Speaker a few years back? Or how about Congressman Joe Wilson, who yelled, "You lie," at President Obama?
The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegal. It's not true.
Civility in Washington, in Congress, is largely a modern-day invention. After all, it was different at the start of our country. Founding fathers Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton finally decided to settle their political differences as men do, with a duel. Preston Brooks, a pro-slavery Democrat, beat and nearly killed Senator Charles Sumner for his abolitionist speech on the Senate floor. History records show Brooks and an accomplice waited for the gallery to clear of women before beginning their attack. Modern-day bipartisan partnerships, think Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill, won the Cold War and brought about 70 years of prosperity in America. Congressional civility came from the 50s and 60s when members largely lived in Washington, went to church together, their kids went to school together. And being in Congress was work. You had to get things done. The American people demanded it. Sadly, last night, as evidenced by behavior over the past few years, getting along and getting things done are now worthy of scorn. John Kennedy sought Eisenhower's advice during the Cuban Missile Crisis because he had to save the world. Speaking of Ike, getting the interstate highway system done required compromise, but it helped build America. Reagan and Democratic Speaker Tip O'Neill agreed to increase defense spending to win the Cold War. They got things done because they had to. Tempered by war and hardened by a long and bitter peace, John Kennedy would say about the greatest generation. The incivility of today is a luxury for soft people. The good times of the past 70 years were produced by hard men. That in turn produced a new generation of politicians more interested in their Twitter following than all of us. And it's our fault. We tolerate a Congress that is the unserious Congress because we can afford to. For the third time in a week, the Russians have threatened nuclear war. We face runaway inflation and a rising China. Now it's up to us to decide if we can afford unserious leaders in serious times. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.